picture this, November 10th. A car bomb rips through a busy street right near Delhi's historic Red Fort. On the surface, it seems like a horrific, isolated act of terror. But as we're about to see, that blast was just the tip of the iceberg. We're going to trace the timeline, get a sense of the real human cost, and then follow the investigators as they unravel a plot that's way bigger and frankly, way more disturbing than anyone first imagined.
Okay, so this whole thing went down with terrifying speed. It's evening rush hour. At 6:45 p.m., a Hyundai i20 pulls out of a parking lot. Just 7 minutes later, it's at a red light, and then a massive explosion. The first emergency call comes in just 3 minutes after that. By 7:15, the scene is swarming with police and ambulances, but for so many people, it was already too late.
And the costs, it was just immediate and tragic. 13 people, 13 lives lost in an instant, just for being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
And you know the really chilling part? These weren't politicians or high-profile targets, they were just regular people, living their lives. A bus conductor, a cab driver, a guy who worked in a sari shop, an e-rickshaw driver. One man was just in town to visit his son's mother-in-law in the hospital. The randomness of it, the fact that it could have been anyone, that's what makes it so terrifying.
All right, so let's get into the investigation. In all that chaos, how did the authorities even begin to piece this puzzle together?
So right away, investigators had this huge question on their hands, right? Was this some kind of horrible tragic accident? Or was this a deliberately planned attack? Everything, the timing, the location, the type of blast, every single detail was a potential clue pointing one way or the other.
Well, we got our first big clue pretty quickly from the way the police filed their case. They invoked the UAPA, the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. Now, for those of you who don't know, this is a really stringent anti-terror law. It's not something you use lightly. So with that one move, it was crystal clear. The authorities were treating this as an act of terror, no doubt about it.
And that stance was solidified fast. The Prime Minister himself, speaking from Bhutan, promised that the masterminds wouldn't be spared. And to back that up, the case was immediately handed over to the NIA, the National Investigation Agency. We're talking India's top counter-terrorism unit. This was now a major national security investigation.
And this is where the story just takes a wild turn. The investigation into the Delhi blast suddenly and shockingly connects to a completely separate police operation that was happening miles away in a quiet suburb.
So follow this trail, okay? It all starts with some threatening Jaish-e-Mohammed posters that pop up way over in Srinagar. The investigation into those posters leads police across the country to a doctor, Adil Majid Rather, in Saharanpur. His arrest then points them to another doctor, Muzammil Ahmed Ganai, in Faridabad. And when they started grilling Dr. Ganai, he led them right to a nondescript rented house.
And what they found inside that house, it's just staggering. We're talking over 3,000 kilograms of explosives. 3,000! It's suspected to be ammonium nitrate, the same stuff that's been used in some of the most devastating bombings in history.
And it wasn't just a pile of explosives. They found the whole kit and caboodle. Walkie-talkies, 20-timers, remote controls, batteries, heavy metals to be used as shrapnel, and even assault weapons. This wasn't just a stash, it was a complete terrorist toolkit, pointing to a plot far, far bigger than what happened at the Red Fort.
So with this insane discovery, police started connecting the dots, tying the Delhi blast directly to this cell in Faridabad. And as they put the pieces together, one name just kept coming up, rising to the top of their list.
So here's the alleged crew. You've got Dr. Adil, the guy whose arrest kicked this all off. Then there's Dr. Muzammil, the one who led police to the explosives cache. Both of them are in custody. But the person they're really focused on now is Dr. Umar Nabi, a colleague of Muzammil's who is now at large, completely vanished. And yeah, you heard that right. These are educated professionals, doctors, at the heart of this alleged terror plot. It's just wild.
And here's the smoking gun. That Hyundai i20, the one that blew up near the Red Fort, according to police sources, the last person seen driving it was the very same Dr. Umar Nabi. A direct, undeniable link between the missing suspect and the scene of the crime. So this leaves investigators with two very different possibilities, right? Theory 1. This was a panic attack. Did Umar Nabi hear that his buddies got arrested, totally freak out, and just hastily detonate a poorly made bomb out of desperation? That could explain why the impact was relatively limited and there wasn't a lot of shrapnel. But then there's theory 2. This was the planned mission.
a deliberate, calculated attack that was part of a larger plot designed to cause exactly the amount of chaos and fear that it did.
Which, of course, brings up another huge question. Did the bomber go up with the bomb? Is Umar Nabi actually one of the 13 unidentified victims? To figure that out, forensics teams have taken a DNA sample from his mother to compare it against the remains from the blast site.
Look, the specifics of this case are absolutely shocking, but they also raise some much bigger and honestly much more troubling questions for all of us about public safety and the state of our national security.
In the wake of a tragedy like this, it is so important to just take a breath and think critically. The source material really urges everyone to avoid a few traps here. First, the sensationalist media coverage that's just hunting for ratings. Second, the trolls on social media who are just out there to spread hate. And third, our own personal biases that can lead us down a rabbit hole of unfounded conclusions and conspiracy theories.
And all of this brings us back to the one unsettling question that just hangs over everything. How in the world did 3,000 kilograms, that's 3 tons of high-grade explosives, get smuggled into a suburb of the nation's capital completely off the radar? It is the exact same question people were asking after the Pulwama attacks 6 years ago. And it leaves you with an even bigger, more chilling thought. If they found this cell, what else is still out there?